Hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamers Lounge podcast. My name is John Meadows. With me as always, Eric, Nathaniel, and Dennis. I almost said Robert for some reason. I don't know why.
I know we look alike.
So yeah, I know.
Yep.
You guys look really
carbon copies, man. You're
so much
twins.
Alike, but I don't even understand why that. I guess because we've been talking. We've been doing things this week, me and Dennis, with Robert, and I guess I got Robert on the brain, so it's like
yeah. A lot of exciting things though. Hopefully, stuff that we can talk about more in the future. But I think it's going to be very, very exciting. A lot of big things coming. So
yeah, we're slowly but surely getting all that stuff kind of buttoned up. So hopefully in the next week or two we'll know who, the what, and where. So there's my Johnson I pulled for the day. So. I pulled my Johnson for the day. Wait a minute, that didn't sound right. Anyway, let's talk about what we've been playing, what we've been doing. I don't know, Eric. Oh no, wait, that's the background Eric has. I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on with Eric? He's all
special background.
Yeah.
Hey, we're half and half today.
Yeah.
2 special backgrounds, 2 just like, that's what's behind me.
He swapped it on me, and I thought he was frozen there for a minute. I was about ready to go, oh, Eric locked up. Oh, no, wait, he's not frozen. He's got a background on there now. Okay, never mind. Yeah. But like I say, we'll get into what we've been playing. We actually got some good news that'll probably spark some discussion. So, I haven't played too much this week. I was talking with Nathaniel before the show. I picked up Chorus for the Xbox on Thursday.
I was interested in that one.
Yeah, I was really, really interested in it too, and I had to use my. Well, I didn't. I wanted to go ahead and use my $5 off card, which beginning next month you will no longer be able to use that for digital currency. Just to let everybody know, because apparently
There's my $5 eShop cards.
Yeah, so I guess that's why they stopped doing it was because there's no game I want to buy. I just put it on an eShop card or whatever for me. That's all I need.
Oh, heavens forbid people actually try and use the thing for.
Yeah, I know, right? So
Yeah.
Like, all right.
so I ended up buying it digitally because where I got a Series S, I probably will want to play some of it on the road. So it's like, now it's kind of like, oh well, I'm a physical guy, but I kind of want to play it when I'm out on the road, so I might want to buy it digital. So now what do I want to do? So now it's now I'm torn. I got to be very particular.
You played yourself, John. You played yourself.
I did. I played myself bad because I played myself right into a corner because I was like, crap, what is it? Oh man. But anyway, so I've only played it for just the little opening mission or two, just to kind of get the feel from it. It's very cool. The graphics are awesome. It reminds me a lot of Everspace. You never physically get out of your ship and walk around. There are cutscenes every once in a while, but nothing where you get out. But it's the ship, the route it seems like it's going is the ship's going to be very symbiotic with me. So it's like one of those things where the ship's living and I'm living and we're fighting. Well, I don't want to give too much away from the story at the beginning, but so I
go to choir practice, right? Yeah, chorus. That's what that
chorus,
means.
Yeah. Or as I thought it was for the longest time, Corvus, because it was a V. It looked like a V.
It'll be like Corvus, yeah.
Corvus. So I was like, wait a minute, that's chorus? Well, that's a V. Oh well, whatever.
Yeah, if you're gonna stylize your logo, the V and the U, you I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, it was weird. It was very strange. But yeah, I like I said, I picked it up, just played it just a little bit the other day. It was really good. One of the other games that I played it to completion was Firewatch. Hey, 2016, I finally got a chance to sit down and play Firewatch. Yay!
That's a dang good game.
Is amazing.
Yeah, it was a really cool game. I really enjoyed it. I ended up getting all the achievements, and from start to finish, I think it only took me like 2.5, 3 hours, something like that.
One trophy, but yeah, it's a great game.
If it's the one trophy about the cassette, you walked right by it on the way out the end of the game. I don't know what cassette it was.
I have to go look.
Or if it's the raccoon that pops out, that's an achievement too. You walked right by. You walked right by all that.
It might be the raccoon.
Yeah. Well, you can go back into Free Walk and literally take 5 seconds and get your platinum on it or your 1,000 points, whatever, wherever you played it at. It was an excellent game. I really wanted to know what else. I was kind of like, well, this kind of ended kind of quick. I want to know what's going to happen. Are we going to do another game? Don't know. But yeah, I could talk about it. Everybody, it's a 2016 game. Come on, 6 years old, and I just
it's still fun.
Isn't that like small, like 2, 3, 4 person studio or something?
Yeah, it was a
game, and then Valve acquired them, didn't they?
That I don't know. Maybe they did.
Not sure about that.
Because I thought they were working on that one. I forget what the game is called, but it's like there's like a couple women who are the characters of the trailer, and they're like in Egypt doing archaeology or something.
Oh yeah,
my brain is forgetting what it was. So they announced it, and then like a while after that, Valve picked them up, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So, now that you say all that, I do remember that.
I could be misremembering too, because I'm just pulling this out of my head, out of what I'm vaguely remembering. It's not like I've looked it up recently.
Right. That vaguely sounds right, though. I do remember something like that. But
So they're playing around at Valve, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. One of the other games I played, if you could call it a game, was Townscraper. I call it more of a doodle than a doodle game than I would a game. I mean, it's not. There's no plot. There's no story. There's no setup. There's no levels. It's just. And Dennis, I know you played it too. It's just.
I did, yeah.
You're building, you pick a section in the water and you just start building houses, and you can stack them as high as you want or as wide as you want, or cut the legs out from underneath of them and put them on little stilts. I mean, it was.
Yeah, I mean, you're really just going between like two buttons. Like one button is to
Yeah.
place, the other button is to delete, and then that's it. You just kind of go for it after that.
Literally, I played it for 45 minutes, got all 1,000 achievements, and went, that was really cool. Uninstall and went on to something else. I mean, it was like, it's a really cool game. I know it's on everything. It's on mobile and everything like that. I think it would be a lot cooler on mobile as let me log in and just kind of chill out doing something, move my fingers around, just something like that. Yeah.
Out of curiosity, we went to Google because my girlfriend and I were playing that together, and we went to Google to just see what other people were making, and like, my God,
Oh yeah,
some people get super like intricate and elaborate with like their designs. It's insane what people can do with that game. Like you said, if you want to call it that, but it's more of like really like a design software.
Yeah.
Probably the best way to look at it, but it's awesome. That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. The colors and the graphics and the art direction was. I mean, it was really cool. I mean, I liked it. I liked it a lot. But it was like, I mean, if you just want something that's a super quick play, just kind of chill out for a few. I mean, that's it.
Easy 1,000 Gs on there too.
Really. I heard, and I don't know if it's true, and I never did any research, but I heard someone say that there's like a mod on the Steam or the PC version where after you build it, you can load the mod and walk through your town in first person.
Oh, well, that's really cool.
Which would be cool.
Oh, dude.
If that's true. Once
awesome.
again, I just heard something and I'm reporting it as fact because that's all I know.
There's a mod that if you put it on there and you walk through in a specific way, the game turns into Skyrim somehow.
Yeah,
wait, what?
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all. And the last game that I started last night, I started the Pedestrian last night. Played the first level, I guess you'd call it. It is a awesome platforming puzzle game. It is really cool. I mean, you're just a stick man going through signs, and you have a door, and you go up. It's fantastic.
The trailer for it looked really cool.
That game was constantly blowing my mind. I beat it after, I want to say, maybe 4 or 5 hours, and man, it just kept blowing my mind, and it just like, and especially by the end, I'm not going to spoil it because something at the end like very unexpected happens.
Oh, okay.
But it is insane. It's awesome, and it's probably one of the most clever puzzle games I've played in the last couple of years, and honestly now. I mean, just because of how memorable and how unique it is, I can probably safely say it's probably one of my favorite puzzle games like ever. Probably.
Yeah,
now.
I mean, and like I said, I just played the first level of it, and it was it was great. I mean, I loved it. I mean, the puzzles weren't super hard. Alexa, cancel. I don't know what she thought I said, but she's up here rambling something off to me. Good grief.
Alexa just wants to let you know what she's been playing.
I guess. I don't know. Here's an idea of what is that? Oh, shut up.
That's not been on Game Pass for that long. It's only been
I think it came out like
a couple weeks at most, or this week. I forget.
Yeah, not even maybe at most.
They added also, was it Gorogoa, I believe is how you pronounce it recently, and that is a awesome puzzle game. I played that on Steam a while ago.
On Switch. Still have yet to play it though, unfortunately. But I do own it.
If you like puzzle games, it's worth playing.
I do very much.
It's on my list. It's on my
and it's not too long either. It's another, fairly short puzzle game.
Yeah, I've been kind of I haven't had a whole lot of time, so these short little set down puzzle games have been really cool to play. Firewatch and like the other day last weekend I didn't have a ton of time to play. I literally had to do wash and go to bed, and when I put the wash in, I sat and played Townscraper, and then went to bed. I mean, it was, and I achieved something. It wasn't like I just got on Sea of Thieves and went to someplace and did nothing. It was, I actually did something in a game. That was what I was trying to think of. I felt like I accomplished something. So.
Right.
But the Pedestrian, that's as soon as we get done, we'll go upstairs, let the dog out, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play it some more.
It is great. It gets super challenging. Like, I mean, as one can imagine, that's how most puzzle games are. But like, it gets super challenging. Like towards the end, just because of all the different tricks and stuff you
Yeah.
can do, and you'll see it's not that part's not particularly a spoiler. They just give you more mechanics to work with,
Yeah.
and just environmental things. Like eventually, you know, without getting too much into details, just so you can still see it for yourself. Eventually, you know, because you said you only played what, the first level?
Yeah, I only played the first level. Yeah, I literally put the battery in the elevator and went up, and that's,
Okay, and that was
that's
it.
where I
Okay,
stopped.
gotcha.
Yeah, so
Okay, so really you've just been kind of just jumping and platforming at the moment
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
some slight puzzle elements. Okay, eventually you can start using like springs to jump really high, and you'll need
Yeah.
boxes that you'll need to grab and drag to get you to places you can't normally just jump to, just to kind of you know tell you some of them without telling you all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets more complex as you go, but it just keeps getting like just more clever also, because even though it gets harder, it gets more clever as you're
Mhm.
going. And I never once did never once did I really feel particularly, I wouldn't use the word frustrated, but like I don't know, every time I did solve a puzzle, because I never had to look anything up,
Yeah.
now this is going to vary from person to person depending on your puzzle proficiency, but I was just kind of enjoying it, though I mean I did find myself at many times just kind of staring at the screen for like 10-15 minutes as I'm like doing all these all of it in my head of like, well, if I put that there and then move this here, and then if I jump up
Yeah.
here, and I'm like, no, that doesn't work. Scrap that idea. So I'm just brainstorming all these ways to complete the level, basically. But it is so rewarding. Like every time you beat each level, especially with the more complex ones, and by the end, it's just like just absolutely mind blowing. It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
It really is. It's funny you say that, because I started the next puzzle, and it was actually I had to move these and that to make the block fall over and drag it through.
That's
And
right.
it was, I didn't have a whole lot of time this afternoon to play, but I fired it up and thought, oh, I can just do this one puzzle real quick. And I went, well, no, wait a minute. I'm going to have to sit here and think about it. Never forget it. I'll come back later. I don't have that much time to sit and actually figure that one out. So,
Yeah, you're gonna have to come back to that. Thankfully, with the power of quick resume, though, you'll be right back in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, with that quick resume, I mean, I was just back in it because I had to take maybe a couple of breaks from time to time and just be like, I gotta let my brain rest.
Yeah.
They got crazy after a while. But man, it's just so good. It's so good. One of the best puzzle games I've played in years. Like that was awesome. And the thing is, this is the beauty of Game Pass, right? Where it's just like I never heard of that game. Like I know apparently it came out in 2020. I never even heard of it.
And I probably would not have picked
it
up, unless somebody here picked it up and said, hey, I played this awesome puzzle game. This was like, you should play it. That'd be the only way I never even heard of it. It was like, oh, well, this looks interesting. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it. And, apparently it came out in 2020 on PC. And then I guess it just came out to consoles, and that's why it's on Game Pass now. But yeah, and I downloaded it because I was like, oh, well, this looks neat. Because I just saw a little GIF. I just saw a GIF of it. And I was already sold on the GIF, which says something, and then
peanut butter's good, man.
So
I like
anytime anyone says GIF, I'm just like, no, that's peanut butter.
You're right. It is peanut butter. You're not wrong.
But when I saw it, I downloaded it.
Discussion, though. He's not going to do it.
But I saw it, I downloaded it, and that would have never happened otherwise if it wasn't for free Game Pass, So I'm just, and it just came at the right time. It was hard to put down. Man, it was just awesome. Like if you love puzzle games, please do yourself a favor and check it out. Especially if you have Game Pass. No reason not to. No reason not to.
And see, this is what I like about Game Pass, and this is what people who don't like Game Pass and are so whatever to it. It's like, no, this is what Game Pass for. Not that you won't buy any games, but you'll get introduced to games that you might not normally play, and then you will go buy them if you want them.
I've always said like I don't do it anymore, but like back when I was like maybe like 10 years ago, so when I was like 16ish, still in high school, whatever, I would torrent a lot of games, right? I just I didn't have the income to just spend $60 every week on whatever new was coming out. So a lot of the stuff I would torrent, which is why I was so heavy into PC at the time, because you're not going to torrent on console. That's just not a thing. So
not if you want to play online anyway.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that I didn't care about my Wii U. That's why that got modded real quick. So but that aside, but yeah, no, but eventually down the line, I would say, looking back on it now, I want to say maybe 85%. I want to say is an accurate number. 85% of the games that I did torrent at one point, I ended up buying, and now I own. I have it in a library, whether it be physically and or digitally. Because sometimes I double dip with some games. I'm like, you know what, I like that game a lot. I bought it digitally, now as a physical copy. Sure, I'll buy it again just to have it for the collection. And these were games that I initially torrented, right? And then these are also games that I'm just like, I love, and then I recommend them to other people. There goes another couple sales right there, So, because I don't tell them to go torrent it, I'm just like, no, go get it.
Go buy it.
Yeah. I'll torrent it, and then so but yeah, so through that kind of word of mouth, but yeah, no, I mean it's kind of a weird sort of comparison with torrenting and Xbox Game Pass, but because you are paying for Game Pass, but,
right? Yeah,
but it's one set fee, and you get all these games for quote unquote free, and you can play them, some of them day in day.
Less like you get it for free, but like by the time you played like 2 things or whatever, depending on what it is, it's paid for itself.
Exactly.
So like it's also good. It's good for like, okay, here's some like slightly older game or something that I wanted to play maybe, but I wasn't super into it enough to pay full price, but hey, it's on Game Pass. Or here's all these small things I might not have played otherwise because I wouldn't have heard of them, or I just didn't want to pay $20 a pop for a bunch of different things. I might have paid like 2 of them instead of all of them. So
exactly.
Game Pass is pretty good.
And and there have been quite a few games actually that were on Game Pass that I just ended up buying just because sometimes you just see them part of a sale and that it's a good deal, and you're like, you know what, even though it's on Game Pass and I have Game Pass, I would actually like to like own that for myself. I like that game.
And eventually stuff
it
could
go
come off Game Pass too.
Exactly. Like Desperado's going off right now, and it's like, oh, I want to play that game, and I want to finish that game. I barely played it. I'm going to buy it before it goes because I want it.
Exactly. And and I think and Phil Spencer has brought out the numbers time and time again. It's just like, look, a lot of people that own Game Pass still buy a lot of games from Game Pass too. So not only is it a great service, to have give people all of this content, but these are people that are discovering, that their new favorite game that they didn't even know existed probably if it wasn't for Game Pass, and then they follow. I mean, just point and like just the I already forgot the name of it. The I think I'm going crazy. The Pedestrian. There we go. The Pedestrian.
Oh yeah, the Pedestrian. Okay, I wasn't sure what you were talking about. I was like, okay.
I almost said the Pedigree.
Oh no way, no. The Pedigree. Well, okay, I want to know what you're talking about. Okay.
But you know that it's like dog food. The Pedigree.
Yeah. Sign's yellow, so Pedigree, the dogs are yellow. Yeah, I could see where that you could go. But anyway,
dog food on Game Pass confirmed. What?
Yeah, dog food, a little bit of Triple H. I don't know. It's something.
Save me some money for dog food. That'd be great.
But yeah, no, the Pedestrian, for example, just how much I fell in love with that game, and I'd never heard of it prior to coming to Game Pass. But yeah, no, great game. And there's also been a lot of games on Game Pass also that I'll play on Game Pass and then buy again because I remember loving it so much on like the Switch, basically. I'm like, oh, I want to play that on the Switch, see what that's like on the Switch, see a good deal for it. Yeah, why not? I'll buy it on the Switch. And then there goes the sale. Get another sale. So it's honestly done nothing but wonders. And again, Phil Spencer brings out the numbers time and time again. He's like, no, like it's great for business, it's great for everybody wins. And so it's always weird just seeing all the people being like, it's not sustainable this, or it's just it's terrible for developers that, and stuff like that. And we don't want something like this.
Better for some developers than others, I'm sure, but it's definitely good enough for Xbox that they'll keep it going as long as they possibly can.
Yeah, of course.
Yep. Well, did you listen to that podcast, the New York Times podcast that I recommended to you, Dennis? Did you listen to that?
I did not, unfortunately, but I did see some excerpts from it.
Yeah. It is a fantastic interview. It's a short little 30-minute interview with I don't even remember the woman's name, but her and Phil Spencer, and she just rapid fire shoots questions at him. From sales of systems all the way to sexual harassment in like half an hour. It's just
I remember seeing an excerpt where he did talk about Activision Blizzard. And he's like, look, I mean, we've had meetings that, because right now, like, they're on thin ice, man. Especially with a lot of partners, they're not doing good at the moment. So a lot of people really don't want anything to do with them. So
people don't want to buy their games.
Well, and he was saying, with console sales and and everything like that, and software sales, and people could say what they want about Game Pass not selling consoles and not selling games, but games are selling, consoles are selling, Game Pass is selling. Everything's selling.
They're doing as good as they can.
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I was surprised was I went out this week and I stopped at a lot of Targets, a lot of GameStops, and a lot of Walmarts because I'm looking for G.I. Joes. But anyway, and I'd always go through the electronics section. Every store had at least 10 Series S's on hand. And
how many Switches?
No Switches, no PS4s, no PS5s, no, just Series S's was all they had. And what Phil Spencer said in that interview was what they found out in the fall was for every Series X they made, they could produce 2 Series S's. So that's what they did. So for every one Xbox, or one Series X. So for every 2 Series S's, there's at least been 1 Series X. So if there was 10 in store, there was 5 Series X's made. And I mean, and that's why the Series S is so prevalent, because they can make them quicker and they can make them cheaper. That's why they.
Well, also that price point is just like irresistible. I mean, you're talking $300. The Nintendo Switch OLED, which is not a next gen system, is $350.
Yeah. Well, and everybody's complaining because Microsoft quietly stopped making the Series or the One S at the end of 2020 and didn't even say anything to anybody. And everybody's like shocked and appalled by this. I'm like, well, why would they? There's no reason to make it, because you have the X and the Series S, and the S is the same price or maybe cheaper. I don't even know how much the One S's were at this point. Yeah. But and I can't tell you the last time I saw a One X or a PS4 on the shelf. But Sony's going to make more PS4s. They can't make enough PS5s. But
so they're going to make more PS5s.
But God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn's coming out, and they got to have those sales either on the PS4 or the PS5.
Yeah, so but that's the silly thing. There's already so many PS4s out in the wild, so like. Sure, you could sell some more, but that's not going to help God of War or Horizon that much more by having PS4s on the shelf. Like, what
would help would be a PC port. Like of those as well.
Right? Like, we'll talk about that in a while when we get to my stuff.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
What's funny is how many people a year ago said because Microsoft had the One S still on the market, that the One S was holding and the Series X would hold back this console generation, and then Sony says we're going to make 1 million more PlayStation 4s. It's like, that's not, clearly nobody thinks anybody's holding anything back. Regardless, or Sony.
That's just Sony is like, we think we can sell these, so we'll make them because we can,
and they will. I guarantee they will. Like, they'll sell them. People want them.
It's kind of making a news story out of a non-thing.
Yeah, it really is. But I mean, they'll sell them.
Are they still selling the Pros for $400 though? Because I don't ever think I've ever seen that price change.
I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I haven't seen any in the store in over a year and a half, so I don't know.
Because I don't know, because they're gonna have to do some lower price point or something. Like, I get it's the beefier system, and that's more compelling than a base PS4 Slim. But like, I just feel like when you're spending $400 when the PS5 digital is $400 also, why just if you can hold out, just get that.
What I can pull up here. Used at GameStop $389.
Used. Oh my God.
Shopping. That's the tab I'm looking for.
I need to clean off my PS4 and trade it in.
Well, the value.
The value of them actually dropped the other day after Sony said they were still making them. When I sold mine and my One X, I sold them for $330 each to GameStop for store credit. Now they're $280. So that's on the high end. That's for the Pro membership. That's $280.
I mean, it's still a decent chunk, but it's a lot less than what you got.
You're looking at $187 for a PS4 500 gigabyte and a $280 in credit for a PS4 Pro 1 gigabyte.
Mm-hmm.
280 trade in or sell mine. I'll probably try
I
to
got
sell
room
it.
on
I'll probably try to sell it.
PlayStation.
Who wants to meet at the police station? That usually deters enough people. Trust me.
You don't even mention like selling a console or anything. You're just putting out there who wants to meet at the police station.
Yeah, who
Like,
wants
we're
to
having a
Yeah,
meetup.
who wants to meet at the police station?
Actually, one
I
time
know of a great coffee place down the street.
I think I was selling the Switch Lite I had, and the guy was interested. As soon as I said the police station, he's like, "I'm not really comfortable meeting there." I'm like, Well then, I'm not
It's because my mugshot's hanging down on the wall.
I know.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, they don't have any on their GameStop website, so all I can go is buy the pre-owned price, which is $389.
I bet as soon as you traded yours in, John, I bet it was gone.
I know it was because the guy who worked there is the one that bought it.
Yeah,
because he said he was going to buy it. When I walked in with my 1X last Saturday, the two guys that were working there were going to get in an argument on who was going to buy that night and go home with it.
That would be kind of funny to see them arguing.
I told him, I said, well, if I read in the paper that somebody gets beat up at GameStop, I'll know what happened. Good luck, guys. I'll see you later. Bye.
But that's what happens when you take care of your stuff. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, which isn't hard. You just, dust it off every once in a while. That's it. Make sure, keep the cockroaches away. My Lord. So, I mean, you used to work there, John. I used to work there. Like, I'm sure combined the amount of horror stories that we have.
I always love picking up a system and going, go. Yeah, I hear roaches in there rattling around. All right. Yeah, that'll be good.
Yeah, it's like 1-2 switch all over again. You're just tilting the Joy-Con. There's about 8 in here. There's about 8 marbles.
Yeah, after you buy it, after you sell it, you open up the disc tray, you pulled off the back of the PlayStation 2, and you shook it over the trash can and just let everything fall out of it.
Pouring sugar into coffee. It's ridiculous. It's disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross.
Like the people that would come in, it's just like, this thing doesn't work anymore. I wonder why. Yeah. This thing is shot because, you got all these roaches. You got Mama Roach, Papa Roach. Shout out to the band, I guess. And like they're all in here. It's ridiculous.
And
that's not a disc tray. That's a cup holder.
Yeah, really. And I have not seen a roach in a house in probably 20 years. And we have down here, we have those crickets. They don't really make any noise. They're just those black crickets that come in the summertime. And then in the wintertime, they all cuddle behind my computer where they die because it's warm there. The power is warm, so they eventually die. So I suck them up. But they don't even get in my computers or my systems because I know they're there. No. It's like, let me just suck those things up with a vacuum cleaner real quick. I don't know. People
That's
are weird.
The weird thing, too, is like even some of my older consoles, before, when we're talking like stuff, when I had what I had... consoles that I had when I was a kid, right?
Yeah.
So stuff that I didn't really take care of. You don't think about that stuff. All you think about is turning it on and playing the game, right? You don't really consider dust, if you even know what that is at that age. You don't, consider, bugs and things like that, and heat sources and the weather and how that affects bugs coming in and out. So. But even looking back then, because I still have my GameCube, it's still in pristine condition. My parents didn't take care of this; they didn't care for it. They just kind of got it for me to, make me shut up. Just like any kid, just so they can keep.
Hey, go! I have a lunchbox.
I have my original Odyssey 2 that my mother bought me in 1982. And still in the box. I mean, and it looks just like I got it yesterday. I mean, it's brand new and it works. I hook it up to the old TV and it works. I mean, it's 40 years old.
Yeah. My Nintendo 64 is like that. My Dreamcast is like that. My Game Boy Color, so on and so forth. All of those old retro stuff now that would be considered retro is like all still in pristine condition.
I don't know. I don't understand what people do.
That's because you weren't spilling Mountain Dew on it, wiping your Cheeto fingers on it. The list goes on.
On the controller.
And I wonder. I'm like, did you eat cake and then just rub your hands all over this console?
Or did you use the console as a plate to eat your cake? I mean, that's the question. I mean, did you just?
I understand loving your console so much you want to hold it tight, but you don't want to just
Did you unhook your NES and take it in there and go, oh, I'm all out of plates. Let me cut this piece of cake and put it on top of my NES and eat it. Because I have nothing else to put it on. It's like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? I mean.
You want some My Little PlayStation. You want
Come here, PlayStation. Open up that disc tray. Here's the cake. Get in there.
Yeah, I mean
that's how you turbo clock consoles. You feed them cake.
Oh, okay. Is that how that works? Okay.
that could be pretty funny. I mean, I know you guys have seen some gross stuff. I picked up some stuff where I was like, did you just like put this by your cigarettes the entire time and just smoke and smoke?
Yeah, well, I've come home with boxes of Genesis games and Genesis and stuff and just left them out in the garage for a week to air out because it's like, holy crap, y'all just... Was this kept under the bar and
by grandma's ashtray? She's smoking all the time.
Well, I'd open up Genesis to clean them, and I'd be like, "Oh crap!" And I close it, walk upstairs, and Nikki's going, "Why are you going out in the backyard?" I got to dump all the crap and the roaches and the roach leftovers out of these things. I mean, it's like, what are people doing?
Well, that reminds me too. Like, I remember, I think this was probably shortly after I left, where like I bought an Ocean Shadow Xbox One controller because I was looking for that color for a while. We finally had one, and I was just like, yes, I'm buying that. And I knew the people that worked there. I knew it worked fine. I knew they cleaned it and everything, and everything worked fine. However, when I got home, it reeked of like cigarette smell, and I tried everything, you guys. Like everything. I'm telling you, like I sprayed this thing with Glade. I put a little bit of that Fabrizio in there, like everything, you name it. Like
you feed it cake.
You feed it cake.
Fed it cake. But like I gave it a good like wash down. I have like electronic like cleaning toolkits and stuff like that too. So I did everything. Everything, and still it reeked. It reeked, and I within 48 hours I was like, I can't anymore. Like I don't want this anymore. So I sent it back. Unfortunately, I like that color a lot, but I was like, you know what? I thought about it this way. I was like, if I really want that color, I'll just buy a random Xbox controller and I'll just swap out the plate myself because they're really easy to do.
And my Elite controller that I got was like that. It was a pallet return from Walmart. So it didn't work, so they brought it back, and it reeked of cigarette smoke. Took me 3 weeks to get the cigarette smell out of it. By every other day, taking a Lysol wipe, the cleaning wipes, wiping it down, then taking isopropyl alcohol and soaking it in and wiping it down, and it finally it smells perfect, but. Oh my gosh! It was like, still it was worth it for the price I paid for it. It's like, I'll put up with it till it. I'll get this smell out of it eventually. Let me just sleep with it and stick it in my sock drawer and smell like clean clothes.
I mean, what I had was really bad though. Like literally after 48 hours, I was like, nope, I don't want it anymore. Like it's not worth it. I just sent it right back. So
there's been some things I've gotten in lots that I've just thrown away that I'm like, they're not. Nobody's going to want that. It smells like smoke. It's yellow. It's got tar on it. It's out. It's out the door.
Gross.
Yeah, it's gross. But man, that was quite a divergence to what we've been playing.
A little bit.
But anyway, so go ahead, Dennis. I think I took about half your list there. We were playing.
Okay. I mean,
we were following each other the whole thing. So we were following each other around. So, but go ahead. So
So we talked about Firewatch. We talked about the Pedestrian. We talked about Townscaper. Is it Scraper or Scaper? I always get confused.
I always say Scaper, but I mean, it's not SCR. It's not scrape.
Okay, so it's just Scaper. I mean, Scape would make more sense anyways, just because when you think of like because a skyscraper, it's a skyscraper, not a skyscaper. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. Moving on.
Spelling, who knows?
I
don't understand it.
But all three of those great games, the Pedestrian especially, if you have Xbox Game Pass, absolutely check them out. Do yourself a favor and check those out. They're great. The Pedestrian and Townscaper I know just came out within the last week or two on Game Pass, so those are like fresh to the service. But in addition to Game Pass, before I get onto the other stuff, one more thing that I've been playing from Game Pass is The Artful Escape, which I don't know how far I am into it. I put a couple hours into it. I don't think it's a particularly long game from what I've
it's about 4 hours.
4 hours, okay, yeah. So I want to say I'm for sure at least halfway through, at least.
Nice. I'm glad you liked it. I'm glad you like it.
No, I'm loving it actually. I think it's great. It makes me laugh because a lot of it honestly reminds me of like if it's like a psychedelic art house version of Bill and Ted is what it reminds me of. And it's awesome. It's awesome. So But yeah,
I need
no,
a Bill
it's
and Ted game now, man.
yeah, I know. Actually, I think there was one on the Super Nintendo. No, maybe
But like a
Yeah.
modern one, right?
more modern one. Yeah.
I don't think there was one on PlayStation. I think it was just a Super Nintendo or NES. I don't remember which.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, back then they would license anything and everything.
I mean, I want a game where I can just press X to party on dudes, or no, X would have to be excellent.
They did make a Wayne's World game, so party on. Yeah, they did make a Wayne's World game too. It's quite expensive now on the NES. But anyway.
Yeah, no, like Artful Escape is it's super interesting. It took me like a couple seconds, well, not a couple seconds, a couple of like the first like 30 to 45 minutes. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be like too into this, but then I don't know, it just kind of like sucked me in out of nowhere, and like I just kind of fell in love with it. And the environments are beautiful, like going through all these different, because you're kind of going through space, you're going through the cosmos, and you're just trying to put on the most metal concerts, and stuff like that, and all across the galaxy. And it's great because it's got a weird sort of interesting mix of, like, it's a side scroller, it's a platform, it's sort of a narrative adventure. And yeah, no, I mean, the aesthetic is beautiful, and the narration and the storytelling is really, really great. And it's an Annapurna game, so if you're familiar with Annapurna and like the type of material that they typically put out, not that they're all the same, but you kind of already have like a general vibe and idea of what you're kind of getting yourself into.
Right.
But yeah, no, it's been a really, really good time so far. The controls are fairly simple. It's like part rhythm also, because at some points with some of the battles, you have to, like, do certain button presses in a certain way depending on what lights up, either in your environment or on a particular, like, monster's or person's, like, face, basically, or an alien's face. But the designs are crazy. They're super unique. They don't feel like anything else I've ever seen before, and it's just a really clever and pretty game that it's really refreshing. That's probably the best word to use for that game. Is it's super refreshing and very original. So I like it a lot. And again, that is on Xbox Game Pass. And if you're a fan of Annapurna, then you'll be a fan of this, because they put out great stuff. So
yeah, I actually did I demo that the last time I went to PAX East? I think I did. It was
yeah,
I really liked what I saw in the indie section. I played it probably for like 20 minutes. I was like,
yeah.
when this game comes out, well, first of all, I tried to get a review code, but I kind of forgot. Second, if it comes out, I'm either going to buy it or play it. And so I'm definitely going to play it on Game Pass. It's on my console, but I will probably buy it too. Just
yeah. Well, it's not much either. I think it's only about $15, I
$5,
think, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really expensive.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's worth checking out, absolutely, especially, and it's a lot more relaxing too. Don't worry about dying or anything like that. It's very much a straight shot sort of side-scrolling narrative adventure game with a lot of, with a nice sort of implementation of, you got your platforming, you got your rhythm, and almost kind of a point and click sort of feel to it as well. But yeah, no, it's awesome and definitely worth checking out. So going outside of Xbox for a little bit, and still talking about shorter games on the shorter side. I played a game called Arch Lion Saga. That was on the Switch, Nintendo Switch, and it's a game by Kemco. Now, Kemco, they usually do a lot of retro RPGs, and but modern stuff. But all their stuff is very 16-bit and stuff like that. So, and they usually just put out a bunch of, typically, like, they kind of go in, like, I think they're kind of based in the mobile space, but over the last couple of years, maybe the last 6-7 years, they've been kind of putting stuff to consoles. And I know they first started a little bit with the PlayStation Vita, because I have a couple of their games on Vita, and then they just started putting them everywhere, right? So now it's on Xbox, now it's on PlayStation, like their consoles, like 4 and 5, and now on Switch. And Archline Saga is one of those games, really cheap, because it's meant to be like, they call it a pocket RPG, because it's meant to be beaten in, like, at most 3 hours. It's not going to be your 30, 40, 50-hour experience. It's meant to be $5. Yeah. Super short, super cheap, worth every dollar. It's awesome. Like, it's very straightforward. You don't have to worry about dying too much. If you're just kind of in the mood for an RPG, and you want more of that nostalgic feeling of, that turn-based sort of Super Nintendo era, Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy, 4 and things like that. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Like that one, and they also have I haven't put it on this list because I haven't played it yet, but it's this pocket RPG, Archline Saga, and another one is called Everdark Tower. That's the other pocket RPG that they have, also $5. Yeah, haven't played that one yet. Maybe by the time the next podcast comes around, I can talk about that. But yeah, I beat it. It's yeah, it's just I mean, don't go in expecting a mind blowing story. Again, it's meant to be just kind of a like almost like a fix, right? Where it's just like, man, I want to play an RPG, but I don't want to spend 50, 60 hours on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's meant to be just kind of give you that quick fix. So for a couple of dollars, man, like it's well worth it. Whether it's on sale or not on sale. I think I picked it up on sale for about $2.49, I think, so 50% off. But even if I were to pay the $5, I wouldn't regret it. I wouldn't regret it at all. It's again, cheap, nice little pocket RPG. I played it 99% of it on my Switch Lite, which because I wanted that kind of old school Game Boy feel. Yeah, no, it was awesome. It was straightforward, party management, simple. It was pretty much what you expect it to be. If you're familiar with titles from that era, except without all the bloat. It's just very straightforward.
Short, straightforward. I like that.
And there's a progress bar at the top too, which lets you know like how far you're coming along in your chapter. And I think this one had about 5 chapters. Each chapter couldn't have been more than 30 minutes. I mean, really, it was really straightforward.
Yeah, me too. Short is good. Short and sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the perfect amount of gameplay. Yeah. 80 hours in, I'm pulling out my hair.
100%. Yeah, exactly. So, just you don't have to worry about this isn't Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. So. It's not Valhalla. Yeah. I mean, I love Valhalla, but yeah. It's
great game. But it's there comes a point where it's just like, look, these credits got to roll at some point.
Yeah. Look, I've bought more games. I need to play something else.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
But yeah, no. Again, I highly recommend it. It's just a couple dollars. It's on the Switch. You can pick it up, but I believe it's on other platforms as well. If you would prefer to play it somewhere else, like Steam or Xbox or PlayStation, I think it is available on the Vita too. So anybody out there who's still using the Vita, go check it out there. Because anytime I can get it, I can have to promote the Vita, I will. So, but yeah, no, I've been playing. In addition to that, on the bigger side of things, really I've kind of spent the last probably since around Christmas, really, so probably the better part of the last 2, maybe 3 weeks, playing a lot of Story of Seasons Pioneers of Olive Town. Now I did play this game when it came out back in March of 2021, I believe, because I reviewed it way back when it came out, and I put a lot of hours into it, but I didn't put enough to the point where I got to the point where I beat it. Like I was able to adequately write a review that I felt I had seen everything, because games like that, it's a farming sim, right? So after a point, it's like, all right, crops, townsfolk, day-night cycle, water your crops. Oh my God, it's raining. Stuff like that. After a point, you just kind of seen everything. So, and then not every farming sim has this, but this one does, where it's just like, oh, romance. Okay, so that's a thing too. You can marry people, have kids, even divorce them, and stuff like that. So, but the game, even though I liked it when it came out, I believe I gave it a it was mediocre when it came out. It wasn't bad. It was far from bad, but it wasn't great, but it was, I don't even want to say it was good. It was good enough. It's probably the best way to put it. It was good enough where, if you're a fan of Story of Seasons and just farming sims in general, at the time when it came out, you still would have had a great time with it. But I kind of put it down for a bit because I got tired of all the bugs, and there was a lot of crashes and slow down, and the loading. My God, the loading was horrendous, which kind of killed the mood a lot of the time when playing that game. But I picked it up again within the last couple of weeks because I bought an extra copy as a gift, as a Christmas gift for my girlfriend, and so I wanted to just jump back into it. I think it'd be, just thought it'd be a fun game to play together, just because I was in a farming sim sort of mood. And they have patched it so much since it came out. It feels almost like a different game, and it's now it's great. Like now I can absolutely give you, that thumbs up, 5 out of 5. Well, maybe not 5 out of 5, but a great recommendation. And so yeah, definitely worth trying, definitely worth picking up. on the Switch. It's a great time. The slowdown's pretty much gone. There's still some odd things, like there's odd stuttering. Like I'll just randomly be walking and the game will look like it froze for like a second or two before it just continues. That I don't like too much. But otherwise, a lot of the problems I did have before and just the community in general were patched. Because I remember looking through all the patch notes before I jumped back into it, just to see like, is this worth jumping back into? Let me see really quick. And I had heard in passing people who were picking it up again for the first time over the last couple of months who were just like, man, I love this game. This game is incredible. And just people who played it when it came out, like me, and then maybe just jumped in again a couple months later, who were like, oh my god, like this, they've completely changed everything. Like now it's playable now and it's super enjoyable now, right? So, but I was looking through all the patch notes, and pretty much I want to say 80% of the things that I was complaining about when I did review it had been taken care of. And which was great, because I was just like, oh, I remember complaining about that. They fixed that, thank God. I remember complaining about that. I remember complaining about that. And then just all this stuff from the patch notes was like, oh my God. And just a lot of quality of life stuff as well that they introduced that just made the game a lot more palatable and accessible to a lot more people. And just things, it just made everything just feel a lot more intuitive too. Stuff that really should have been there since the beginning, but hey, better late than never, I guess. So,
I mean, they're working on it so they can have it when the PC version came out in like September or something, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe they were just like, okay, well, we'll continue making the Switch one better so that when that comes out, they're both decent. Who knows?
Yeah, they're pretty comparable. So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's been a really, really great time. I've been enjoying it. I do have a problem with some of the layout features, and what I mean by that is just like, because you can decorate your farm, right? Just kind of just like you would decorate your island in Animal Crossing, right? You can put items down,
right,
and things like that, make little nice little like pathways and things like that. But some of the positioning is weird, and places that you would think you'd be able to place items or any type of flooring down on, you can't, and you're like, why? Why this stupid restriction? It doesn't make any sense. It clearly fits, but it's like, nope, can't put it here. But every time you're about to lay something down, there's like a little square. There's a hollow square that would show you more or less where you're placing it. And it's not obstructed by anything. It's far enough away from the edge. I know sometimes with Animal Crossing you can't put things too close to the edge, or even when you're putting patterns down, you notice that there's still like just a little sliver of grass, between the patterns. But this, I mean, we're talking. There's plenty of breathing room. And for some reason it's like, no, you can't place it here. It's like, why? It doesn't make any sense. Meanwhile, if I go one tile up in roughly the same location, we're good. Why? Again, why? It's right here. It's like I moved it 2 feet to the right. It's why is it okay here?
Too far. It's too far.
Yep. I don't know. But stuff like that drives me crazy. But yeah, overall, it's a really, really great time. I like the art direction that it has also, which is a big difference from the game that came before it, which was called Friends of Mineral Town, I believe, which was a lot more chibi, mainly because that game was on 3DS and then they ported it to the Switch, so it still kind of had that 3DS look and aesthetic on it. The graphics weren't anything special. And the town was a lot more boring also, but this town is so, I don't know, it's just, I like the way it's designed, right? It's a lot more vibrant. It's a lot more fun to walk through. The problem with Friends of Mineral Town is the town was it was very cookie cutter, which is everything was just kind of like in a rectangle shape. You got, just 3 rows of pathways with maybe 3 houses on each, row, and then that was it, and not really much to see outside of that. So it was just very boring in terms of visuals and stuff like that. But nothing against the game itself, but I don't know, it just never felt exciting to go into town, right? It just kind of felt like I don't know, it felt like a waste of time, really. But Pioneers of Olive Town, though, is awesome. A lot of customization also in terms of player character. So, you can make your character look as unique as you want, with a bunch of hairstyles, a bunch of clothes. Now, you do have to create the materials for these clothes, but they have a lot of options for you to play around with. And then, there's mines for you to go down, just like in Stardew. There's, pets for you to have, tons of chickens, cows, alpacas, goats, rabbits, just things like that to, sort of take care of and gather materials from like their fur and just milk and eggs and stuff like that too. So and then you can create just so many things with it, like mayonnaise and butter and stuff like that, and that'll give you more money as well. And yeah, it's just a lot to do, and it's a lot of fun. Cutscenes all over the place, depending on how your relationship is with some people, because everyone has like a heart meter, and just depending on how much, you just have to talk to them. That's it. Just give them one little talk, give them like 2 seconds of your time, then they're happy. And then but if you really want to get super intimate with a particular character, just give them a bunch of gifts, and then eventually, hearts will go through the roof, and they'll be like, oh yeah, yeah, it's just like, oh, this diamond ring, it's for me, okay, and oh, this flower, is it for me? Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's how these games work.
Yep.
But yeah, it's just it's just a. And again, Story of Seasons now, if you're a big fan of Harvest Moon way back when, this is what you want to play now, because the Harvest Moon now is not made both by the same people anymore. Harvest Moon now really is just a title that's been owned by Natsume, because they own the property rights for it. So, but Story of Seasons is what Harvest Moon essentially became, because that is where the team moved on to, because they kind of left Natsume. They couldn't take the property with them because they didn't own it, but they own Story of Seasons, so that's why Story of Seasons is kind of the new go-to now for Harvest Moon fans. So, and yeah, it's great. I mean, those guys know how to do farming sims, so that's why they've been doing it for, I don't even know, 20 plus years now at this point. Whenever the first Harvest Moon came out, I don't even know, a long time ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah. I remember playing one on the Nintendo 64, like forever ago.
I was gonna say, I want to say there was one on was it on the Super NES?
Yeah,
I want to say so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's when it first came out.
Yeah, so yeah, it's been around for a long time. Lastly, though, lastly, not a farming sim, more of a serious.
Very serious.
Yeah, more of a serious sort of typically a murder mystery.
Can't get any more serious than this one.
No, it is.
I object.
Oh yeah, no objections.
I see what you did there.
Yep.
But yeah, the Great Ace Attorney, I've been playing that. It's man, it's been a great time, and I haven't played Ace Attorney in a while. I still have yet to pick up the trilogy, even though it goes on sale like all the time.
Yeah, I bought the trilogy a long time ago on the Switch.
Yeah. I've been meaning to, but I just never got around to it, because I wanted to play something new. It's just like these were just those were just remakes, and even though it's exciting to play those again, I just wanted to play something new, and but I really wanted them. I want Capcom so bad to port over the ones that were on 3DS, because those were great, like Spirits of Justice, and I'm trying to remember the Dual Destinies. I want to say it was probably the other one.
I think that's the one. I have them, but I don't remember.
They were amazing on the 3DS. Like, they were fantastic. They were some of my favorite games on the 3DS. And yeah, so Great Ace Attorney is, if I'm not mistaken, actually a remake of games that we actually never got. They were just in Japan, and then they were remade and localized for the Switch. And it's a 2-pack. There's 2 games in there. So, it's not just one game. It's a remake of Great Ace Attorney 1 and then Great Ace Attorney 2. And yeah, I mean, it's Ace Attorney goodness, right? So it's your usual, you're going to be going to court, and then when you're not in court, you're going to these, these typically murder locations, and you're investigating, and you're trying to find all these items, and trying to get as much evidence as you can before you go back to court, and present all this information, and try to help out whoever you're trying to defend, basically. So but yeah, no, it's a phenomenal time. I've been loving it. It's hard to put down, and man, on the Switch OLED, those colors pop. My God, the colors pop, and it's a beautiful, beautiful game to play.
Do you have your screen turned up 100%?
Oh, 100%.
Oh yeah, man. When you turn it up 100%, like, it gets so bright that I can't play it in the dark because my eyes.
Oh yeah, I know.
Adjust.
Yeah, in the dark. Yeah, in the dark, I actually do have to turn it all the way down. No, that green gets crazy bright. Yeah, it hurts my eyes.
And where it's a true OLED and it goes totally black. When I mean, it has true black on it, so my eyes have time to adjust, and then all of a sudden you get the big bright Nintendo, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've blinded my retinas. It's just it's.
especially on Ace Attorney, where like sometimes when people say something that has like an exclamation point in it, like there'll be a big flash, and you're just like, oh my god, you know. So
yeah, and I'm trying to play it in bed before I go, and the wife's asleep, and all of a sudden the entire room lights up. Yeah, it's like,
yeah, it's like a gunshot went off. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's like, oh my gosh. Yes.
Now, thankfully, what is cool though, I noticed this in the settings though, you can actually turn all that off. You can turn the flashes off, you can turn the vibrations off, you can turn all the crazy, like, you know, instant sort of like flares and stuff. You can turn all that off if you want.
Yeah,
like, you know,
I think you have to anymore for seizure people. You know, I mean,
oh, for sure.
You know, you have to have that option anymore.
Yeah,
seizure people, like they're you know what I mean. Seizure people. Yeah.
Yes,
people who get seizures.
Yeah.
Like, there's a better way to phrase it, John.
They live on the island of seizure. I don't know. They're seizure people. I don't like they're.
Yes, that famous. You know, country of seizure. No,
I don't know why it came out that way, but it just did. Yes,
over in Mount Seizure.
Yeah, over across the hill in Mount Seizure.
But yeah, no, but it's been just a fantastic time, but as usual with these cases, I mean, they take a while. I mean, it feels like you're in court. You know, it feels like you're actually like in court trying to bring
really
justice.
In court.
Yeah. But it's so good though. It's just like those stories are just incredible, and you know, even though I miss Phoenix Wright, obviously, you know, I mean, but this is meant to be a prequel that takes place hundreds of years ago.
Right.
You know, so but they're great though, and it just feels awesome to be playing those games again, and yeah, I just can't wait to see another one. Hopefully we get another original one soon, because I know these are remakes, and obviously we got the trilogy, which were ports, but the last original one, yeah, they were on 3DS, so hopefully we get another original one, you know, pretty soon, because I think it's long overdue at this point. I can't remember. Spirits of Justice came out after Dual Destinies, but I'm trying to remember when Spirits of Justice came out. I want to say maybe 2016. So it's been literally 6 years at this point. It's been a long time. And I don't know what the gap was between Dual Destinies and Spirits of Justice, maybe 2 or 3. So if you don't mind looking that up.
Let's see. Ace Attorney Spirit of Justice was 2016.
So that was 2016, okay. And then what about Dual Destinies?
That's the other one I need to look here. Let's see. Dual Destinies. Here we go. And that one was, let me get my mouse all the way over here again. 2013. 2013.
Okay, so there was a 3-year gap then. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we're long overdue for a new one.
Yeah, way overdue.
Yeah. My God. Like, you know, but I don't know. Hopefully we get one soon. You know, I know 2022, the year just started, so who knows? Plenty of announcements to come of games we've never heard about that we're not expecting. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen? Maybe we'll get a new Ace Attorney this year, and yeah, and we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
So, but yeah, that's pretty much my list at the moment. So
cool. All right, Nathaniel, we'll just go in the semicircle here. I'll make a U. Anyway.
I swear. Well, like the first one we're going to talk about is a game that's been a while since I played it, because it was back kind of mid-December, so that I was playing it and didn't get to talk about it last episode because we were doing our like top games lists or whatever. But it's Pray for the Gods, which is spelled funny. Thank you, Bethesda.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about it. I think it.
Yeah, we talked about it like ourselves, just not on the podcast.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we talked about it offline.
So, yeah, it's a game I remember seeing way back when they kind of announced it, and then it came out in early access, and then because it's like a 3-person team, it's a very small team, I think it's 3, they had to stop developing it for a little while because of like some, you know, like family issues or something with one of them. Anyway, one of the team couldn't work on it, so they basically meant none of them could make progress, and then they came back to it, and it finally came out of early access in December. But if you don't know what it is a game that is basically 3 people are like, hey, we like Shadow of the Colossus. Let's do a game like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it is, but then it's got some stuff in it that's not Shadow of the Colossus. So it's got all the big kind of climb on a giant thing boss fight stuff that's straight out of Shadow of the Colossus, just, you know, not like ripping them off or anything, but it's that style of gameplay. It also has kind of a little bits of survival gameplay where you have to go out and you have to like have food so that you don't starve, and you have to like go get materials and things like that. You can do some exploration around the map, and other than going to the bosses, you can find some other stuff for like some special enemies. You can find some different outfit pieces, stuff like that. And then it also has kind of the stamina and climbing systems from Breath of the Wild. So same way with that, you find some things you can upgrade those so you can have better health and stamina, stuff like that. But it still has like the kind of like the same circle that you'd know from Breath of the Wild, and pretty much anything you can climb on except for some specific surfaces that you cannot. But yeah, it's just like, hey, you got enough stamina to get up there? Sure, go do it. So it's kind of like the setting is more Norse inspired, so it's all very wintry and snowy, and then like storms will roll up on you and you'll get really cold and have to survive them and all that stuff by putting a fire down or finding a cave to go into. But then eventually you like go find whatever the next boss is that you're trying to fight, and you find the way to get up on it, and then you find their weak spots. And you're not stabbing them in this game. They come pre-built with like a kind of a plunger thing that you pull out and then push in, and it kind of rings a bell, kind of a noise. And then, yeah, it's pretty good. It's got a little bit of jank to it, but you know, it's like totally playable. And it's like it was made by 3 people, so it's very impressive for a game like that they managed to do.
Yeah.
Quite a few. I can't remember how many bosses in there. It's like 7 or 8 or something like that for the whole game, and they're all like designed pretty well, and they're all different and they're fun, and yeah, it's definitely a cool. If it looks interesting to you, then try it out for sure. If you like Shadow of the Colossus, it's similar to that. It has less story than Shadow of the Colossus has, which is already kind of minimalist.
Yeah.
But that's just because Shadow of the Colossus has like 16 bosses or something
like
by the
that,
time you're done with it. So it just has a little bit more room for it. Plus it's it's a bigger studio doing it, so they can invest in a little bit more stuff. But there's a couple of cutscenes here or there. There's a little bit of storytelling of like what happens after you defeat each boss, and then what happens when you get to the final one, and all that kind of stuff. That's kind of interesting and a little bit of surprising here and there. But yeah, mostly it's about the gameplay. It's not really like a story game. But yeah, that game was pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's on my wish list on Xbox.
Yeah, same. Well, not on Xbox, but on Steam. I've been wanting to check it out for myself.
Yeah. So if you see the logo, it's Prey, but if you see it written in text, they had an A into it because Bethesda sued them, and because they're just a small, tiny thing, they're just like, we're not fighting it, so they settled it, and that was the difference. They didn't have to change their logo, but they have to change it in text, so it's really weird.
So silly.
It's like no one was going to think it was a Prey sequel, guys.
No.
Like, come on, Bethesda. But that even is like feels so long ago now, just because that lawsuit was way forever ago before it even came out, I think, for early access too. So it's just like I don't remember the details of it now.
Yeah. After
finishing that, I fell down a Nier rabbit hole. I got Nier Replicant on sale during all the holiday sales, so I played through all of that, which was like I think about 40 or 50 hours to play through and get all the endings in that game. And then I played after that. I was like, I'm gonna replay Nier Automata because I've played and beat that game way back in the day. I'll play it again. So I finished that just the other day, like earlier this week, and spent another probably 40 hours in that game. I spent like 60 or 70 the first time I played through it, but since I know how to do some of the stuff this time around, it's like, okay. I'm not farming a bunch of materials I don't need or anything like that.
Yeah.
Playing them back to back is interesting. I'd never played Replicant before, or Gestalt or whatever it was, the American release way back when. But it's interesting comparing them because they very much are similar in a lot of ways, and then there's certain things that they're very different on, just in kind of like the structure of how the games work. And like you have kind of like a few different specific areas that you keep going back to, and then different story things happen in them. But there's also like a bit of a grindy element to both games, and just how they play with different kind of gameplay things with like doing some platforming, or just like the camera shifts where you're like, okay, we're doing like an overhead now you're like 2D side scroller, and now it's like the full-on 3D action game or whatever. There's a lot more of that actually in Nier Automata, playing it back to back, it seems like Nier Replicant is the older game that was the prototype, and then now we're going to do it again and do almost the exact same thing but better.
Yeah.
And the differences is kind of the setting a little bit, but even with that, there's a lot of similarities in just like the type of story they're doing and some of the gimmicks that they use. It's like, okay, we had this idea when we did this original game, but now we can do it better because we hired an action studio, so we can just like be a little bit more successful. So there's a reason that Automata kind of was the surprise hit that it was, whereas the first Nier game was not.
Yeah.
Even though it's still a good game, it's worth playing. But it's kind of like they took a lot of the stuff from that game and like, okay, well, let's do that, but let's do it better. Is a lot of what it feels like now that I've played both games. Like, it's interesting. So that's kind of the fun thing I've pulled out of it this time. Was just kind of the comparisons of now that I've played both and played them back to back. Even it's like, so I was thinking of that when I was playing through Replicant too, of just all the stuff I remembered from Automata. But then like going straight into the sequels, like, oh yeah, okay. Now I really hope they make another of these games because they're really fun. Yeah. They're really cool. Especially if I want to get my like anime crazy melodrama fix plus all the weird action stuff and the other things it all mixes together, because like it'll shift tones on you pretty quickly sometimes depending on if you just go straight through missions or not. Yeah. Characters getting absolutely anime angry for no reason. Just like, I'm screaming to the heavens now because I'm very angry. Like, dude, you were cool like 5 minutes ago. Like,
yeah, it's like,
sit down and breathe.
Calm down. It'll be fine. Or just all the there's especially in the Nier Automata, I was laughing because there's one particular character who's just like so thick-headed that like throughout the whole entire game they're just like saying the same statement about how like, no, it doesn't matter what machines say or whatever. They don't have anything in there. They're just like imitating things or whatever through the whole game. Despite seeing all the events of the game, that's proving is like, no, that's not it. Like, there's more going on here. It's just like, no, I'm stubborn because I want to be that kind of anime character where I'm just like, no, I have no rationality. But yeah, like even like playing at the music in the game, everybody like talk about like how the original one has good music, and it does. But Automata is like 10 times better with its music because they have all the best themes from the first game are back remixed in Automata, and then they have new ones that are just as good. And so like that soundtrack is amazing. It's one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. It's so good. It's a really fun one to listen to.
I've never played it. Like, I've got it downloaded, but I've never played it. I need to.
It's one of those games. They're both weird too, where they have like, okay, here's the end of the game, but no, really you need to keep playing because it's not the end. We're just rolling credits and pretending it's an end. Right. And then like play through again. Nier Automata does it better because it's actually different each time of something you're playing. Whereas Replicant, the next playthrough, it's like, okay, it's pretty much the same. And then like I'm doing the same things, but I'll get a couple of extra cutscenes here or there. Whereas Nier Automata will switch up some gameplay stuff. So your second playthrough is the most same as like ending A is like playing through and you get that ending. And then for going playthrough to ending B is the same part of the story but with a different character that you're controlling. So it's different from that respect and adds a different kind of like gameplay hacking thing that you hadn't done to that point in the game. And then from then on it's different. It like continues after, so it's not like you're replaying, you just continue. So the fact that they call them endings is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Plus Automata has a bunch of joke endings like, hey, if you eat this fish you'll die, and you'll get like a fake credit scroll and it's an ending on your save. Or just a bunch of random things like that. I think there's one where if you do the self-destruct function on one of the characters where you're playing, it will get rid of their pants. And then if you play for a while, that's an achievement. Like, there's so many weird secret things in there in that game. It also has, which I appreciated, like I put like 40 or 50 hours into it and like got to like the final kind of like playthrough thing is like, hey, if you get this far in the game, hey, this character in the camp over here, you talk to him like, hey, open a new secret shop that you can buy achievements. Like any achievements you haven't done yet, they're expensive, but if you've done the game pretty well to that point, you can sell some of the items that are just junk items anyway that you've got in your inventory already, and then all right, I've got 1,000,000 credits. Sure, I'll spend them on achievements so I don't have to go grind out materials for this thing or go find all the weapons. I'll just buy them, whatever.
Sure. That's great.
And it's basically telling you that in the NPC you're talking to is like, hey, you don't want to spend the time on these? That's fine. Here, I'll sell them to you.
Yeah,
just don't tell anybody.
It's a big secret.
I don't know. They're just fun, interesting games that Yoko Taro is a unique individual. It's kind of like it's a Kojima game is a Kojima game. It's very much the same thing with Yoko Taro, where it's just like he's got his own weird sensibilities that he wants to put in a game and stuff he wants to experiment with, and it's unique to anything else out there.
Yeah,
that's true.
So the last two on my list, I've played just like a couple hours of each. The first one was Monster Hunter Rise because I have no patience and I'm an idiot. It came out on Tuesday, and so I bought it Thursday because I finished Nier Automata on Wednesday, and I was like, I want to play something. I know I already pre-ordered God of War on PC, so I know I'm going to play that on Friday. Screw it, I'm buying Monster Hunter Rise on PC because I want to play it at some point, even though I don't really have time to play it right now.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Yeah, of all the games to buy to play for a day, it's like Monster Hunter Rise. What?
I was like, I really like Monster Hunter World. Everybody seems to be reviewing this really well, and why not? Sure.
Yeah, it's good.
I'll try and remember how to play Monster Hunter. This will be fine. I've got time to play this for a couple hours. Time enough, right? Oh wait. What I played was cool. I played through some of the tutorials. There's still tutorial quests I can go do to tell me how to do some of the different stuff in that game, but
yeah,
so far it seems pretty neat.
Yeah, I liked it on Switch. I didn't play a ton of it, but I played enough of it to know that I liked it. So.
Yeah, I like some of the stuff that is new in there, like the wire bug, I think they call it, that lets you kind of
that thing is awesome. You can just kind of
zip around in the air and grapple things. Yeah,
that thing's awesome.
And then there's some other stuff with it you can do that I haven't gotten to do yet, but I've got the mission for you can ride wyverns, whatever, on it using that same thing or something. I think I don't know.
That's
I've barely scratched the surface of that game.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot to see. I put maybe about. I didn't really at least in Monster Hunter terms, I didn't put much time into it either. Maybe 15 hours, but what I did play of it though, I loved. And it was really good. But I still maintain that I think the best Monster Hunter game on Switch is still Monster Hunter Stories. Too.
Yeah, that game is really good.
Yeah, that game is incredible.
That's another one that's on my Steam wish list that I'll probably get eventually. Who knows? That wish list. I cut it down a lot, so it's only 50-something games instead of 150 or something of what it was.
I go through and I filter through every once in a while. I have to because you don't realize how much you're adding to your wish.
Yeah, there's someone there's I don't remember what that was, and then there's someone's I know I'm never gonna buy this. Let's just take it off of here. It's fine. Yeah. So today, as we're recording, God of War came out on PC, and I played about 3.5 hours of it this evening, and it is awesome. It's here is a great game, an amazing game. Now put on a platform that you can just crank the prettiness factor up just that little extra bit. So if you've got the system for it, it's hey, it's a little better textures. You're in a better resolution potentially than the original game, although with the PS5 update you can do that as well on the console. Right. And then it's running at a high frame rate. I think mine was averaging 100 frames a second or whatever, which on my nice monitor where I could take advantage of that, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so it's a lot.
I kept going I'm playing through it. I've finished that game twice, so I'm pretty familiar with it, and I'm just running through the beginning part and just that looks good. Oh man, that looks really good. Oh, that looks good too.
Yeah, does it look better on the PC than it does on the PlayStation 5? I know they didn't do it too much on the PlayStation 5, other than I think unlock the frame rate was about all they did on the PlayStation 5, I want to say.
Well, I think PlayStation 5, it also, because it was you could get on PS4 Pro, you could get 4K, I think. Yeah. But I played it on the PS4 originally, so I didn't see it in 4K.
Okay, so you didn't play it on the PlayStation.
And then I played it on PS5 when they did the update to it.
Gotcha.
And that's the two places I finished the game at.
Yeah.
It was those 2 times. So now I'm playing it on PC, and I don't know. I will probably finish it just because it's a really great game. It's a special game. It's one of those where it's just like, a once in a lifetime thing or whatever. So even with the sequel coming out soon, and it'll probably be good, it won't have that same special sauce that God of War 2018 has. Just because even if it's just like, hey, it's just as good quality, it won't feel as good because we know what to expect now.
Right.
Whereas with God of War 2018 coming out, nobody knew exactly how good it was going to be or what they were doing with it, and then they kept revealing a little bit, and then when you play it, it's like, oh, okay, this is very different than what you might have thought it might be, and it's like a lot deeper. There's a lot more stuff there, and then just the particular like storyline that they're telling in that game is so well paced out and is a really good story that like they're gonna have to really up their game to tell something kind of better for the second game. So I don't even know if that would even be their goal. It's like, let's just do something different that's good, hopefully is their goal. We'll see when it actually comes out, but yeah, it looks very, very shiny on PC and very, very sharp and smooth and everything. Everybody's been giving it really good reviews because it's a pretty good port, and you can run it on pretty much any kind of level of system. It'll still run well, apparently. So
yeah, that's good. Yeah, I watched a little bit of the Digital Foundry video. Of course, I'm watching it on 4K. But at the same time, it's like it's not the same as having it.
It's still YouTube, so it's not going to be as sharp,
And that's why I wondered. I knew you were going to buy it, so I was very curious to find out, if it really, that's the one thing I wish they'd done on the PlayStation 5 was just give it a little more shine. Not that it doesn't look really good on the PlayStation 5. I'm not saying that. It just would have been nice to get a little bit more.
I mean, there's nothing they could have done to make it look better on PS5, I think. Like, they could have done a few things, but it wouldn't have been enough to be like, okay, wow, that looks markedly better.
Yeah.
I think. Or the amount of work they'd have to put into it to do that is just way too much when they're working on a sequel, and that's going to get them better results anyway. Like, we'll put enough to get it running on there and looking good, because it's already... Still, even if you do it on a base PS4, one of the best looking games to this day, like it holds up pretty well.
Yeah.
So just playing it on PC or even the PS5, it's a good game looking better.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it's definitely worth playing. If you never played it because you never had a PlayStation, but you got a PC, get it. It's one of the best games of all time.
I read
and again, one of the best music soundtracks of all time.
Mm-hmm. I read a story today with God of War coming out about how some of the devs at Sony had to beg upper management to let them put those games on PC to make them.
So weird.
It is
weird.
Yeah,
it sounds like it's a perfect storm of like people asking for it, and then a bunch of the different dev studios under Sony just saying like, "Hey, this is a good idea. We really should do this." And then like enough people saying, "Yeah, you could make money doing this, guys." So then the upper management finally like caved.
And it's not like, and that's what aggravates me. It's not going to. Everybody's like, well, they won't sell consoles. They won't sell consoles. It doesn't matter. They don't make enough money off of consoles to justify it. They make the money off the software. That's where they
also
make the money
not true anyway. Like,
it's not true, and people are still gonna. I have a gaming PC that can play God of War probably at the highest settings, close. I don't have the newest GPU in it, but I mean I've got last year's model. Well, I guess the year before last. But still, I still have a Xbox. I still have a PlayStation 5. I prefer to play on consoles, but I'll play on PC if I want, and I can. Now, not everybody can, and that's fine, but give people the options. Everybody's like, oh, well, if they put first-party PlayStation games on PC, I just won't buy a PlayStation. Well, fine, you won't, but 10 million people over here are going to anyway. So what
it's a dumb way of thinking. It's it's not restricting it, it's expanding your audience. You have more people you can sell it to. It's not it's such a dumb way of thinking, and Sony like dragging their feet on doing PC ports when a lot of other places are. It's just like, no, come on, you could make it better by just putting them out there. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's just no different from Nintendo. I mean, like Nintendo they've been kind of doing it a different route, right? Where like they've been kind of taking their existing properties and like let's just kind of make mobile versions out of this, right? So you had Super Mario Run, you had Fire Emblem Heroes, you have Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, right? And these are games that came out and kind of marinated in the mobile space for a little bit before the actual sort of marinated and like kind of before the actual like proper mainline games came out on the Switch,
Right.
and those went on to sell God knows how many. I mean, Fire Emblem, you got to think about it. Fire Emblem especially is now one of the highest grossing apps on the Google Play Store, probably iOS as well. And we're talking about a property, Fire Emblem, that by the time Fire Emblem Awakening came out on 3DS, they were like, look, this is the last one. If this one doesn't sell, because Fire Emblem didn't really have, especially in the Western market, didn't really have much of a following anyways.
Right.
I mean, when Marth got thrown into Super Smash Brothers Melee, everyone was like, who's that? Right? Like no one.
Marth Roy is better.
So everybody was like, "Who's that guy?"
Now half of the Smash Brothers characters are from Fire Emblem, right?
Yeah. There's. Well, I have. Let's see. 1, 2, 3,
Stop.
4.
We don't want any more Fire Emblem.
I've got 4 Fire Emblem amiibos right here in front of me with a print in a frame from Fire Emblem. So I mean, there's quite a few Fire Emblems.
Yeah, like Fire Emblem has like just absolutely grown and expanded and blown up since the 3DS, like since Awakening in particular, because Awakening somehow just sold millions and millions of copies, and everyone through word of mouth was like, dude, this is an incredible RPG, buy it. So, and because of how many 3DSs were out and about at that time, especially, like, I mean, people were just eating that up, and the next thing you know, Fire Emblem became this new sensation for Nintendo, became all of a sudden just shot up to be one of their highest properties. I mean, it's still Mario, Zelda, obviously, but it's up there now,
and there's a reason why on the 3DS, the GameCube, and below, Fire Emblem games are worth so much money on the secondary market. I mean, Path of Radiance on the GameCube alone, if you want a complete in-box copy, it's going to be $230 every day of the week. I bought it for $40 on clearance at GameStop when GameCube games were coming out.
Yeah, low print. And people now have
and I mean, you just go on price charting and look at Fire Emblem games on 3DS or Game Boy Advance or GameCube, and it's because they just didn't sell well because people didn't buy them. But now now everybody wants them. Everybody's like, I want to play it. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, because I mean, people are realizing, oh my god, these games are actually like incredibly deep.
Yeah,
and there's like the story is incredible, and the game is just a lot of fun. It's great. But yeah, since Awakening came out, the production value in Awakening probably helped a lot because all the most of the cutscenes were like anime, and like it was like watching full length episodes from something on like VRV or Crunchyroll. It was awesome, and like the production value was through the roof. And then they're like, okay, well, let's try remaking an older one, see how that does. So they remade Fire Emblem Echoes, right? Which I think was a remake of Fire Emblem 2, maybe? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Yeah.
But yeah, they remade that on 3DS. The collector's edition sold out within minutes. I know because I bought one of the only ones that were available.
Yep, I bought one too. I got one too, sitting right behind me. Yep. And anytime anymore a Fire Emblem game comes out and there's a collector's edition, I buy it immediately. I don't even look see what it is because if I don't, I'll never get it. I mean,
it's going to sell out, and the same thing happened with Three Houses too. When that collector's edition went out, boom, with a snap. By the time you snapped, it was gone.
Did I get that one?
I didn't, unfortunately. I thought about it, but I didn't.
Maybe I did. I don't remember.
But it was a beautiful collector's edition, though. It was absolutely beautiful. I did get this. Maybe I did get it because I had the steelbook for it. Was that the only way to get the steelbook? You know what? I think I did get the collector's edition.
Now I'm going to have to look at my... I can't see it behind me, so I've actually got to turn and look at my list and see what...
Yeah. I think I actually did get the collector's edition, actually. Now I think about it. Yep, I did. Actually, you know what? Never mind. I did. I did get the collector's edition for that. Must have been a different game I was thinking of then. But yeah, no, I mean, that sold out in an instant. And then, of course, I mean, going back to the mobile game, it's one of the highest grossing apps in the Google Play Store. I know, tens, if not hundreds of millions of downloads, and, people just spending money on it like crazy.
Cash cow.
So, absolutely. And then what happened? Like, they made Fire Emblem Warriors, right, in collaboration with Omega Force and Koei Tecmo, so, which was just pretty much a Fire Emblem version of any Musou game. And I mean, and Three Houses been selling like hotcakes still.
Yeah.
Still, it's crazy. When you look at Nintendo's financial earnings year over year, it's like it's still up there. It's crazy.
It is
It's
crazy.
this game that could barely hit 100,000 in the West. Barely. It always did kind of okay in Japan, always kind of, but but still not enough to warrant like just keep making them. And but all of a sudden, ever since Awakening came out, man, it just everything just minimum 1 mil that weekend.
Yeah.
So it's insane. It's absolutely insane. And but I'm happy though, because Fire Emblem, is a fantastic series with a great art direction, and it really kind of sets new ground, I feel, every time I, play one, because it's just, I don't know, even though it's like a standard sort of, strategy RPG, I don't know. It just feels like it does things differently. Those games are just so smart and just so good, and just the depth within them, and all the different routes as well. So, almost like a visual novel where you can just go. You can go here, there, here. Depending on the choices that you make, and yeah, just so much detail, so much depth in those games. But yeah, Fire Emblem was incredible. So.
Yeah. All right, Eric, what have you been playing? We went off on we veered it again, so now we'll veer back again. So.
I got a new headset too, so I think I sound a lot better.
Yeah, you do.
I've been playing. Nothing too exciting. I really haven't been in a gaming mood recently, the last week or so. Like at night, get done with work and stuff. I've just been reading and catching up on a lot of TV shows.
I get that.
But I've been playing a little bit. Let's start with, I don't know, more Far Cry 6. I think probably like 20% of the way through, 25%.
If I kind of like a Far Cry game, will I like this one for $20?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna say I was thinking about it for $20.
I was thinking about it when it was on Amazon for $20. So
did you like Far Cry 4?
I don't think I played 4. I played 5. I played a little.
I played some of 3 and then never played a Far Cry game because it's just another
5.
Ubi game.
The most recent one I played was Primal. I finished 4 and 3 and Primal, and I think it's fun. It's Far Cry-ish. Got all your Far Cry stuff in it.
See, Far Cry 5 kind of spoke to me because it seemed like the story was real cool, and it does have co-op. Yeah, that was the other thing. It's like, man, it would be kind of fun to play co-op.
It's always good.
So $20, I thought.
I mean, for 20, I'd do it for 20. I mean, I bought it on Black Friday for like 40 digitally, so I don't think there's crossplay though. Just heads up.
Oh, if I get it, it'll be on Xbox.
Yeah, it's good. It's Far Cry. You like Far Cry?
I always forget Far Cry.
Running around, driving vehicles, doing your thing. I think that like the upgrade system and like experience and skill system is a little more robust than I remember in the last few games. So that's been kind of interesting. Lots of different options.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox.
I always try to be stealthy and then I just throw in the towel.
Series X, $20.
I'm like, let's snipe the guy or use my bow. I'm like, I'll just run on my shotgun. Yeah, there are some cool stuff. There's like a backpack mechanic where you can have this like special weapon on your back and it does like different things. Like it might deploy gas that causes the enemies to attack each other, or fires off a blast of mortars, and there's like a cooldown. It's kind of handy. It's been pretty fun. You have like little companions too. I don't know. Yeah, the previous game had this where you could have little companions, like animals help you. That's kind of cool. It's been pretty handy in fights, but it's Far Cry. All right, so let's talk about the other stuff. Saints Row 4, bought that on Nintendo Switch. I don't know why. I remember playing that game.
It was $2.34. That's why I bought it.
I even almost bought it, and I went, even at $2.49, am I really going to play this game? It's like,
you never
I fired it up, and immediately I was like, oh. The first 20 minutes, I'm like, now I know why I disliked this game back in the day. I have finished it. I beat it on PS3 back in the day, all of it. I played it on PS3. All the DLC. I own the Saints Row 3 remastered because that's the one that has the GPD DLC.
I think 3 was the last real good one.
Yeah, Saints Row the 3rd is the best one that they've done.
Yeah, 3 is good. 4 is like, you're super powered up and you're trapped in like this sort of like video game Matrix kind of thing. Yeah. It's okay. It does not look great. It looks exactly as I remember it.
I'm sure.
I'm like, oh man, chunky on the sides. The controls are funny. It's okay. I mean, it's definitely a time sink, but it was cheap. I have been playing Hunt Down, which is a game I played at PAX a couple years ago. It is a retro 2D shooter. platformer. It's fun. It's very arcadey. Definitely has co-op, but it is not online co-op. Only couch.
Gotcha.
So it's cool. It's fun. It's challenging, but not super hard. So like for someone like me, it's a good it's a good experience.
Yeah.
I think I'm on. There's like 5 or 6 areas. Each area has like 5 or 6 levels and a boss. So I think I'm on area 2. It's pretty cool. There's 3 different characters with different weapons and a different like melee attack or throwing weapon. So it's not. Is it one hit? No, I think you have a couple. It's not one hit kill. I think you have a couple of life bars. So you don't die right away, and you respawn really quick. There's plenty of generous checkpoints and little secrets, and it's very. It's a very throwback game. It's fun. I think it was $5 or $6, and I had my eye on it for a while. My buddy recommended it, and I was looking around for prices, and it was cheapest on Switch. So there we go.
Yeah.
Works great with the Pro controller. That's all I use. Only the Pro controller. I get mad at the Joy-Cons.
I like my new Joy-Cons. I didn't bring them down.
No joy in those Joy-Cons.
Well, I have the Zelda one, so they'll probably work great.
Yeah, I have the Zelda ones too, but I'm afraid to play with them because I don't want to rub the
paint.
I don't want to rub the paint off of them. They're too pretty.
Oh yeah, no, they're gorgeous.
I mean, I literally spent $70 on controllers just to go. Oh, these are pretty. Let me set them on the shelf and look at them.
The ones I have here, these are actually.
Nikki just
see, but I have them in cases though, so like
I do. Yeah, see,
and the Zelda Joy-Con.
Oh yeah. I just and I need to get the
right there.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah, I mean it is.
My God, look at that.
I love them. But I'm always afraid that I'll rub the color off of them. So
yeah, I know that's it. But is the paint cheap? Like, I mean,
I don't know. I don't have a clue. I'm afraid to find out.
I just use them, John.
I'm a sweaty palm guy when I play for a long time. I don't want to take a chance.
It's a little greasy,
light gray controller.
Nope, I don't like. I have a white controller in the right here, and that's only because it came with the Series S. I literally never even put the batteries in it. It's going to go back in the box of the system, and then if I ever need it, it'll be here.
Trade it in or no?
I'll keep it. I'll keep it.
Yeah, I've got a blue Xbox One controller, and I have the white one that came with my Series S. And my Series S, there's a skin. I have a nice little green skin on it. Yeah. It does a good job.
Yeah. Well, I'm the guy that bought a Elite 2 controller and still use it on his Series X, and then I'm like, now that I don't really want to have to de-pair my controller to my Elite or my X and then to the S and then back and forth. I'll just do a trade and get another Elite 2 Pro controller because I'm crazy.
That's what I'm talking about.
So traded some games and got me another brand new one. So it's like, okay,
yeah, you mentioned the trade. I was wondering how that went.
See, now you're catching up to me, John.
I know, right? Well, it's like I bought that 20th anniversary, play the Xbox controller, but I literally bought it because it was the 20th anniversary controller. Not that I wanted to play with it. It just looked so cool. I wanted to have it. And I can't do that. $70 for a controller just for me to sit and look at and go, oh man, that's so sweet looking. I mean, I don't.
You know what I saw locally? Speaking of controllers, The Last of Us 2 PS4.
Oh, that thing's worth some money.
And it was like $50 or $60, and I think it's still on Facebook. I'm gonna have to go look after this. Well, I was like, oh. I would keep it. I'll put it on my shelf next to my other Last of Us.
Well, it's like I've got the Halo ODST controller for the 360 that came with the game. They're all literally in the box. I played with it back in the day, but I don't play with it anymore. Now it sits in the box with the game, and I just look at it and go, man, that's pretty.
That's pretty.
I don't get. I can't go into collecting controllers, but just every once in a while a controller comes out that I go, I have to have it. Wow. I looked real hard the other day at that Forza Horizon 5 controller.
Don't tell me. Jesus.
They at one of the Walmarts I went into, they must have had 20 of them, and I just stood there.
They had them.
Yeah, they had tons of them. They had tons of them. I went into one store and they had literally 40 of those 20th anniversary Xbox controllers, and 20 of the Forza 5, and I literally just stood there and stared at that Forza one and went,
I want that Forza one. I like that color. I
don't need it, but
except for the part where you do. Like, that's the thing. Go get it. If not for you, then for me.
I mean, I'm gonna buy that Elite 2
I'll use it for you.
I'll come home. I'll come home with it, and I go. And Nikki looks at me and goes, "Why did you buy this?" I bought it for Dennis. This is why. Are you going to give it to him? No, I just bought it for him. Yeah, that would go over real well. But yeah, but yeah, I mean, I'm whatever. Yeah, that Elite. Go buy if you could buy it for $100 or less, it's totally worth it.
Yeah,
even if you don't use those back pedals, it's worth it.
Microsoft Store on Instagram has a deal where it's like 20% off, and there's another coupon taking another 20, so it's right around $100. Jesus, I'm probably gonna get it.
I mean, it's worth
Eric
it.
needs it.
I like I say, it's not that I use all the triggers behind or anything like that. It's just the weight. And the rubberization of it feels good, and the ability to adjust the tension on the thumbsticks. It's my favorite controller.
And I'll need some sort of dongle or something to use that with my PC, right?
No, it's Bluetooth. So if you have a Bluetooth adapter, it'll just
got
work
it.
right with it. Or you can just connect it with the USB-C cable.
Charge cable. Cool.
Yeah.
And so the last game I've been playing is the most interesting, actually. This is Heaven Dust 2. We got a copy for review. I had never heard of this game, never heard of the series, but I looked at it and went, okay, you're shooting some zombies. I'm in. So it's an isometric game. It's kind of like Chibi. The characters look all kind of funky, but it's also it's pretty much Resident Evil.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil 1, you're going around collecting little like things to use in puzzles. Put a gear in, hit the switch, open the door, find a little emblem symbol, put it in a statue. Resident Evil 1.
Right.
The combat's pretty good. Your inventory is pretty small. I think you're trapped. I thought it was in a space station when I first watched the video, but you're trapped in this like facility, and you're like one of only one survivor, and different kinds of zombies, and kind of use the environment against them. You can craft weapons and mods for guns. It's pretty good. I sat down and played it for 3 hours today, and that's pretty long for me to sit down and play a game. But it runs well. It's got some pretty decent save system, complete with that sort of save room where you can save it on like a computer / typewriter and stuff in a box.
Yeah.
Just like but it's pretty good.
It looked cool.
The puzzles aren't too hard. A couple of them I had to go at a walkthrough because I got stuck for more than like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But
it looked cool. They sent me an email and asked if we'd be interested, and I kind of watched the video and went, it looks cool.
I want to know how much it is.
I
want to say it's probably under 20, but it got pretty good reviews on Steam too. So
let me see.
Let's see.
On Steam, it is $14.99.
There you go.
So probably
for $15, I would buy it. If you have slight interest in like survival horror,
it's the same price on Switch. No Switch tax. Yeah. Shocking.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah, it looked really cool. I like the art style of it and the asymmetric Diablo style camera thing.
It kind of the combat, like the shooting combat's pretty good. Like it will it auto aims on the enemies, and then if it'll focus on their weak spot, which is cool. But if you manually aim, that's kind of not the greatest. I don't know. It's super sensitive. So like you're trying to shoot an explosive barrel next to the enemies, it doesn't always work out. But that's my only gripe so far. I'll have a review of it soon.
If the look of it feels very Resident Evil-ish. I mean,
it is, and the music is very Resident Evil inspired too. Every time you go to save, the music from the save room makes you think of like Resident Evil 1 and like saving.
So you got like a little bit of like a piano and whatnot, like
exactly. Little thing goes in my head, and I'm like,
yeah. I love that save room music though, man. Like there's these awesome like, believe it or not, like chill Resident Evil like videos like on YouTube that are like hours long, 1, 2, 3, 4 hours long of just
the music.
But like chill like ambient stuff that you can just put in the background and you do chores with it in the background. You just relax, just lay down on the couch.
Okay, I gotta look this up then.
It's amazing.
All right.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Well, let's get into the news real quick because we didn't really have a news show, the last show. So, and there's been a lot of announcements, believe it or not, since then. So, Ubisoft Plus is coming to Xbox. It is not coming to Game Pass, people. Everybody assumed it was coming to Game Pass.
Who cares, Ubisoft? Also, this cracks me up because you've linked Ubisoft's official site and it starts with Ubisoft announced that it's Ubisoft Plus subscription service, blah, blah, blah. It's like, why are you talking about yourself that way?
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
You announced it. You are talking about your own self.
Bob Dole says that Bob Dole knows what's Bob Dole's doing.
Probably just got some copy paste from like another like.
I think they copied and pasted it exactly from the Xbox blog, is where it
probably
because it seemed like it.
Like,
anyway,
we don't want to type.
So
do we know anything about? Do we know anything about the cost?
No, they haven't said anything about the price or exactly when it's happening. It's just coming this year. I assume it'd be
the same as the PC version of it. I doubt that they would change the price.
I'm going to guess that it's probably $14.99 a month if you want that. If you're a Game Pass subscriber, they may give you a discount on it a month. I don't know. Who knows?
Package it in like EA Play is and with Ultimate. Do that. Then it will actually be news. Just that you can get it on Xbox. So what?
I think
why they play Far Cry 5?
I think you will eventually. They will do that. I think starting out they probably won't, but I have a feeling we will see that rolled into Game Pass Ultimate at some point.
I had tweeted that I think this is, with starting with Rainbow Six Extraction, they're probably going to sort of test out Game Pass integration.
Right.
Because EA Play before it was on Xbox Game Pass was a separate service when it was on Xbox also.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe like a year or so later, then it eventually became part of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. So, so maybe they're probably the same thing with Ubisoft Plus, where they're just like, let's just put in a game here, a game there, see how the numbers are, see how that retention rate is, and then probably that way you'll probably get a lot of crossover subscribers as well. Yeah. Xbox Game Pass Ultimate members going over to Ubisoft Plus. Likewise, Ubisoft Plus members going to Xbox Game Pass.
They have some classic Ubisoft games on there. That's kind of tempting. Like some of that stuff is a little bit expensive, even if you buy it digitally on like GOG. But I don't know if I could. $15 a month.
If it's $15 a month, I'm not interested. Even though you do get the new day and date games and DLC and stuff like that, that is cool. I have a feeling if they integrate that into Xbox Ultimate, I bet they'll take away that day and date new thing away. I can't imagine them still doing that, and make, I don't know. Well, who knows? That's just speculation.
I don't know if they still have it, but back when I used, at the time it was called Uplay Plus.
Right.
So that was their client. But they did have two different tiers before. You had the $14.99 one, which is the plus, but you had Uplay Basic, which was $8.99, so a couple dollars cheaper. And that one you did not get your day and date new releases on. It was mostly like it felt like more of a vault, and it to me that tier was not worth it even remotely. Like that tier was really bad. Like the vault is fine if you're feeling nostalgic and you want to play some older games, or you just want to have like a little bit of a history lesson. Maybe you're first getting into gaming, maybe you've never played Ubisoft games before, and then you want to start off kind of like, okay, well, what got them to where they are? Let me play some of the older Splinter Cells, let me play some of
there's no other option than playing older Splinter Cells.
Well, you have no other option.
They're all older now. It's so sad.
In that announcement, Rainbow Six Extraction is launching day and date on Game Pass Ultimate, which is the 20th, which is what, Friday, I think, or Thursday. It's next week.
Friday, actually. Yes, Friday.
So, I'll download it and play it and try it out. I'm interested in it, but not if it's like the last Rainbow Six, where it was co-op, online only kind of type of thing, and you're playing against bots. I'm not interested. If it actually has a story like Vegas or Vegas 2 did, I'm interested in playing it, but I'm still not interested in paying $60 for it. But I'll play it on Game Pass just to. Man, those years of 360 with Vegas and Vegas 2 playing the story co-op. Man, it was just. It was fun. It was good stuff, and I wish they would get back to that. I understand the competitive side of Rainbow Six and the esports side. I totally get that, and that's cool and all. But for me, it's the co-op, getting 3-4 guys together and doing the squad stuff.
You also just alienate, I think, so many people by just kind of removing features like that too. So
I think so too. But and going into that. Ubisoft announced that they have no plans to bring Ubisoft Plus to PlayStation 5 anytime soon. And everybody's like, well, I'm sure it's Microsoft got a deal. No, it's because those hundreds of games are backwards compatible games from the PlayStation 3 era that you cannot play on PlayStation 5 because they don't have backwards compatibility for PlayStation 3 games. So that's why they're not bringing Ubisoft Plus to
not only that, but
5.
they're probably like, look, of course it's something they want to monetize. So it's like, oh, you want to play those PS3 games and PS2 classics? Well, yeah, that's why we have PlayStation now. You know, pay $20 a month or however much it is. Now it used to be some absurd amount, you know, for something that you should be able to access regardless. But you know, we want to monetize it.
Well,
so.
let's skip to the last story that I put in there that I saw this week from several different outlets about Mark Cerny filing patents that suggests that new backwards compatibility is coming to the PlayStation 5. It sounds like I've read through this and I don't understand how somebody looks at that and says, oh, that's backwards compatibility. It sounds like a bunch of, I don't know. It's way more technical than I can get into. But it says backwards compatibility through the use of spoof clocking and fine-grained frequency control. I have no idea what that means. If that means clocking the GPU or something like that. The only way they're going to get PlayStation 3 on that system or any of the other ones is it's going to have to run emulation. And PlayStation 3 is so hard to emulate.
Yeah.
The only people that'll be able to do it is Cerny and Sony. So we'll see how it goes.
Emulators on PC were terrible for them. For PS3 and stuff. Like, they were horrendous.
I mean, this gives me hope that they may have some kind of backwards compatibility, because that'd be great. I'd love to be able to take my digital games or my disc game and pop it in like I do on Xbox and just download the PlayStation 3 version and play it on PlayStation 5 with faster load times and stuff like that. But who knows? This was just a weird story that I did not understand a bunch of stuff that was in that patent. And companies file patents all the time for stuff that never see the light of day. So
if they're basing this just that there's a patent out there, then that doesn't mean that it's actually going to be here.
Right.
And if it is, that'll be here anytime soon.
Right, exactly. Steam Deck is on track for February. Valve came out yesterday on their official Steam Deck. It's really hard for me not to say Stream Deck. Site or Twitter page, and said that they are on track for a February release. So anybody that's got Q1 should be getting emails at the end of the month, into February. What I did for mine was, when I traded in my Xbox last week, I actually went and bought $300 worth of Steam cards and put them on my wallet. Because you can use because I emailed customer service about this and asked them, and what's going to happen is where I have a pre-order, Valve will send me an email and says, hey, your pre-order is available to ship. How would you like to pay for this? If you have money on your Steam account, you can take that off and then pay the rest of it with PayPal or a credit card or your debit card or whatever. So I already paid off almost all of mine but $100, but I was like, well, why don't I just go ahead and trade in my Xbox that I'm not going to use to pay off my deck.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so according to mine, I'm in the second quarter batch, so I guess that's March, April, May, I guess. So I would assume I will get one by summer. I would like to get that email at the end of February and say, hey, we would like to ship you your Valve. And I would go, okay, you could do that.
See what happens.
Yeah, because I am kind of excited for it. Just,
I'm looking forward to it.
Wired Productions got theirs in so they could test all their games and make sure it works on it. They have been tweeting for 2 straight days with stuff and going, look at this game runs on it, look how great it looks. And they even made their own YouTube videos showing how the thing works and the games work on it and everything. So
I think that's the most impressive part, honestly, is you're seeing all these developers just taking like a sigh of relief of just like, wow, we didn't have to do anything. I think it's good as it is.
Yeah, some of them, all they had to do was if they wanted to adjust the controls. I mean, that's all they have to do, and it's like, and Valve's going to have their little Steam Deck check or whatever they call it on the store, so you could look at that game and go, yep, it will play on Steam Deck with controllers, and it's great. So I'm looking forward to playing some of those indie games that I bought on Steam that I cannot play anywhere else, and I can download them and take them with me. So I like that. Not having to sit in front of a computer if I don't want to. So PSVR 2 was announced. It sounds really cool. I want to see more of it.
Yeah, it's pretty much just here's some tech, info. Like here's the specifications on what the hardware is going to be, but they're still not doing the whole. Here we're selling you on PSVR 2. Here's what comes with it. Here's all the cool games because they're not ready for that yet.
No. So here's some of the stuff. The visual fidelity. It's a 4K HDR, 110 degree field of view OLED. So it's a resolution of 2000 by 2040.
That sounds nice to me.
It's nice. Smooth frame rates of 90 to 120 hertz. That is also nice. It has headset-based control tracking. So you don't need an external camera, like you did with the one on the PlayStation. That was what aggravated me. That was the biggest thing. Well, one of the biggest things with the Oculus Quest was, well, 3, I guess, really, was the ability to not have to constantly be within view of a camera. If I wanted to turn around and see what was behind me, I can turn around and see what's behind me without the camera going, hey, we can't see you. Turn back around. You got to turn back around. You can't look behind you.
Gets rid of that obstacle of having that restricted movement. You know.
The only other restrictive movement thing is you've still got at least one wire on it, which kind of stinks. I would like for it to be wireless. That's what's nice, but they can't.
They can't do that. There's no way that they would get fidelity that would make people want to buy it and still be wireless at this point. It just, the signal for wireless wouldn't handle it. So
well, exactly.
They're wanting it to be a lot closer to the premium VR stuff that you could only get on PC. I think that the PSVR 2 is going to be a lot closer to the fidelity that you would see on a PC than what PSVR 1 was.
Yes, so absolutely.
I guarantee that's their goal with this. Like, hey, we want it to be as shiny and cool tech toy thing that we can get.
And I totally get that. At least it's only one wire. It's not 3 wires like it was before, which was nice. And I'm hoping that it's not a box. I hope it just plugs right into the system and it's done. I hope I'm not tethered to a box, then to the system. But
I don't see why you would necessarily need a box, because wasn't that for like some extra processing for the original one?
I think so.
It was.
And you're not going to need that with the PS5, theoretically at least. So, yeah, hopefully it won't be an extra thing. It'll just be like plug it in the console and you're done.
Yep. It actually has eye tracking in it, which is kind of nice. No, I don't know if any other headset has that or not. I think maybe Valve does, the Index. I know the Oculus doesn't. The 3D audio, which the last one had. The eye tracking. What else was it? There's actually vibration. There's haptic feedback on the thing itself, so really awesome. You can feel things. So that's kind of interesting. I guess. I don't know.
How tired are you going to get if it's like, oh, my head keeps rumbling because I keep getting shot?
Yeah.
Because I'm playing these shooter games in VR.
It's more like a massage than it does, constant just,
Yeah.
It's going to depend on how much fidelity it has. Because if they could get sort of like the sense of like, oh, something whizzed by your head or something like that.
That's my understanding. It's supposed to be like wind, that you could feel it kind of, And it's one of those things that you'll probably just have to try it.
If it's as good as the haptic feedback in the dual, in their like PS5 controllers or whatever, then, but just on a headset, then they could do some cool stuff with it. It's just how many people will be able to do that.
Yeah. New controllers, which they're calling them.
We'd actually seen the controllers before this,
I
think somewhere. So,
and they'll all be haptic feedback triggers, like the PlayStation 5 controllers, which is cool. They did show off a little snippet of the Horizon Call of the Mountain that's coming out for it, which, it looked like Horizon, but I'm in VR. So, it's cool. But it didn't show off a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, what is this? Tell me what it is, then I'll get excited about it. I like
it's
Horizon.
Probably more just a VR experience like Batman was.
Yeah.
That's just, it's just an experience, and that's fine. So, they didn't say when it was going to come out. I'm guessing they're shooting for this year. They also didn't say.
I would say they hope to put it out kind of like this fall, but they're not saying something just in case they have to push it because of supply issues or whatever. Because launching a tech item these days is hard.
Yeah. And they didn't say a cost. I'm going to guess with the 4K OLED that it's probably going to be at least $399, if not $499, the same price as a PlayStation 5. They need to keep it, I think, at least $399 or below if they want to be competitive. But because Oculus sold a lot this Christmas, this holiday.
Well, it depends on what they're aiming for with it, right? If they're aiming to only sell a certain amount because they want to hit, this type of user or whatever, and they're aiming more for, hey, I would spend $1,000 on a PC one, but I can get, a similar experience by doing the PlayStation one for $500.
Right.
Maybe that's what they're going for, which I don't know. That would seem weird, but yeah, pricing is definitely going to influence how well it'll do.
Well, and
plus, how many actual games they have for it as well is also going to influence it. So.
And they've said before there was going to be backwards compatibility, but they didn't say it in this. So I'm assuming backwards compatibility from the old PlayStation 4 games to work will still work on it.
Yeah, but this is more about like, hey, here's the hardware what PSVR 2 looks like, and here's some specs on it. That's pretty much what they were announcing. They weren't doing any of the other.
Yeah, they weren't going into real depth, on it. But yeah, geez, though, in a time where you can't get a PlayStation 5 and they're already announcing a high-end accessory for it is crazy to me.
Yeah, but they've still sold enough of them that they figure that they can probably, sell enough of them. Who knows?
Yeah, if they can get them out stores, they'll sell some. I think...
And just because they put it here now doesn't mean it could be like next year that it actually comes out too. We just have no idea.
I want to say
it will not be easy to get, though. I don't think that they're going to be able to make a ton of them. So
okay, so the last that I saw, January of last year, about 5 million PSVRs, in customers' hands of the first VR. So that's what, probably 5% of your user base. They sold like 110 million or something. So what's 5 million of 110? 5%, I guess. I'm just math. Who knows? Very small though, but
I doubt they're planning on selling tons of them anyway, because VR is still a niche thing that only a certain amount of your user base is going to be even interested in,
right?
Let alone
I have seen
actually buy one.
I have seen more friends this year buy Oculus than I could have ever imagined.
Well, the wireless thing is huge.
It is huge.
Can remove all of those barriers to doing it, then like people will be like, sure, I'll drop some money on this just for the neat experience of it. So that's why it's been successful, I think.
And I don't know, Eric could speak to this, but the difference in the PlayStation VR and the Oculus 2 is just night and day. Even though it's not as powerful of a system as the PlayStation 4, just the clarity, the wireless ability, it's amazing.
The ease of setup and use. You put it on, it boots up. Yeah, tap a button, there you go, away. Done.
Yeah, and it for somebody who had PlayStation VR and I played it a lot, and then get an Oculus and still be blown away by how good it is, that speaks something. So I'm expecting when the VR 2 comes out, and will I get it at launch? No, probably not, unless I have an extra X amount of dollars laying around.
Yeah,
but will I get one eventually? Absolutely, I'll get one eventually, but. I to be blown away by that again, hopefully. I wouldn't see why I wouldn't be. The fidelity would be bigger.
I think you could easily get kind of like PS4, like high-end PS4 level graphics on it at the very least. Depending on what studios are working on it and how good their tech department is, they could probably eke out some more. Who knows?
Yeah. So, the only component that I haven't bought yet for my Oculus is a USB-C cable to run to the PC so I can play, like Half-Life and... that kind of stuff. Which, if regular Half-Life makes me sick, I'm sure that Alexa, whatever it's called,
Alex
will make me just
ill.
Is it just Source Engine games that give you trouble?
Source Engine games give me trouble.
Something weird about that engine.
Yeah, I don't understand it, but I really want to play that game, and it's like, oh man, I'll play it for 5 minutes and go, that was awesome, but I can't play it ever again.
It's like I had mentioned, like the Wolfenstein series of games, the most recent ones.
Mm-hmm.
I'll play them after a couple hours. It'll make me sick too. The Youngblood, I played that on Xbox. Same thing. After a couple hours, I was like,
yeah, it's funny how things are like that. I don't get it. I don't know what it is.
And
but
here I am destroying things in Far Cry 6. Not a problem.
Yeah.
Doom. I play Doom with no issue. No Doom and Doom Eternal, no problem.
Yeah. Well, and I played all those PlayStation VR games. Never had a problem with any kind of nausea or disorientation or whatever. Same thing with Oculus. But man, you set me down in front of this computer and put Half-Life 2 up, and I started to play it, and it's just like, nope, can't do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
who knows?
It's a weird thing. Yeah, it's very strange. But as we talked about it, yeah, that's all I got. So, there was a couple other things, but I kind of left them off. It's like, we'll see how some news goes next week, maybe. But yeah, so that's all I got. Unless anybody else has anything else.
Nada, nothing new and exciting.
All right. Well, we're going to call that a show. We should be back in 2 weeks. It'll probably be a Saturday. Tuesday starts my work out of town every week till Memorial Day. So yes, I'm excited. So I've got my Series S all loaded up and ready to go. I tell you what, I haven't played a lot on the Series S because I haven't had to, but having that memory card has been a total godsend, because a terabyte on that memory card will hold a lot, and to just be able to pull it out and then slap it in my S, play my games, then pull it out and slap it in the X and play my games seamlessly without having to format, without having to do anything is awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is great. It's very nice. Is it $200 for everybody? No, but yeah, it was
convenient. Yeah, convenient.
Yeah,
nice.
It is way convenient. But it's like I said at the beginning of the show, now it's like when I buy a game, it's like, ooh, no, I want to buy that physically, because I won't be able to play that on the Series S.
The physical.
Yeah, it's
just
Game Pass.
You're gonna run out of. You run out of space eventually, so just stop.
I have a whole other side of a basement over there that is the entire length of my living room, the spare bedroom, and the cat's room in the hallway. I've got plenty of room. I can make a.
No, that's not the wrong way to think. Just nah.
Scale it down.
You can't give yourself room like that, John.
That's too much room. You can't do that. It's just crazy talk. But yeah, so when we have, by the time we record the next show, we'll definitely, I'll definitely have some stories to tell about how well the Series S works. So, by swapping it back and forth. So, okay, like I say, if you ever want to join us live, follow us at GL_podcast. That way you'll know a couple hours before we go live. If you do it on the podcatcher, doesn't matter what day we record, you get it the next day anyway. So, or 2 days, depending on, if I can get it up in time. They're only calling for a foot of snow Sunday, so this will be. Can't wait! I can't wait. It's a foot of snow into Sunday and Monday, and then I got to drive to Pittsburgh on Tuesday. So hot dang! Good times. Got to love January. So
that's how we do it.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot for hanging out and listening, and we will catch you all next time.
Take care.
See you later.